We're going to do a side-by-side compare of a carry-on cargo trailer and a Doolittle cargo trailer. While we're at it, we're going to also go over how to buy a trailer. Some things to look for, some things that are regulatory, some things that are more nice to have, some things that are must-haves. And a lot of the stuff that I'm going to talk about here is going to be opinion. So, first thing to look for is look for this National Association of Trailer Manufacturers Compliance Certificate. There may be some manufacturers that don't have that sticker. You can go onto the NATM website and search for the manufacturer that you are thinking about purchasing from. And again, a lot of stuff I'm going to talk about now is purchasing a new trailer. So that's the first thing. The second thing is thinking about what you're going to be using the trailer for. So there's a whole nother video, a whole nother discussion about load, what your vehicle can pull. The common way is to buy your truck first and then buy your trailer second. The probably preferred way from the trailer manufacturer's perspective is to look at what you're trying to do first, then buy the truck second. But we'll just assume that you've got the right truck to pull the trailer, and now you're just trying to figure out what to get. If you go on to axlemotorsports.com, click on support and then FAQ, there's a few FAQs on how to size the trailer and what features you should get, but I'm going to kind of quickly just go over some differences here. At Axle Motorsports, we have a brand called Black Raven. Black Raven just signifies a certain customization on our trailers. Basically, it's going to be 030 skin, and that's just the thickness of the skin here. Most trailers are going to be 022, 024. Another component of a Black Raven is a 4-foot nose guard. A cross piece for the V-nose. Now this Doolittle here is a first gen without a cross piece on the V-nose. It should have a cross piece here to make it a Black Raven. Another component is 16 on center. So 16 on center is in the way that these trailers are built on the inside. Just like you do your house, there's going to be some vertical studs. Those all need to be 16 on center. So certain trailer manufacturers make the vertical studs 24 on center. Another requirement for a Black Raven branding is going to be plywood floor, not OSB. Plywood walls, not Luan. So what you'll see with some of the cheaper trailers is the walls will be made with this Luan, and then they'll put the floor in with OSB. Now Georgia Pacific's got a specific OSB that they call Dry Max that they try to market for trailers. There's some folks that like it, but I can tell you from experience it doesn't compare to plywood. So that's a component. Now, as far as differences with brands, Carry-On does a really cool job of having 2 springs for the ramp. So 2 springs for the ramp, very preferred way of hanging that rear door. Makes it easier to maintain and less maintenance issues. Doolittle has the old style single spring. So it's okay. Once installed correctly, you'd never know. But from a maintenance perspective, the dual springs are a little bit better. Some other differences here. The Doolittle trailer has vertical studs here that are square tube. So if I look back here, I just take that trim off. So you see that square tube? Doolittle is the only manufacturer that I know of right now, 2017, that has a square tube frame. Everyone else has gone to some sort of Z-bar, and it's just a 3-piece on this, and it's even a lighter gauge. It's almost like the new sheds. If you've ever bought a shed, you put it together and you wonder how it's going to stay together. It's kind of how the newer trailers are put together, but once it's together, all the corners are in, it has a rigidity. And you can kind of see here the structural strength of this roof piece. That is a pretty good gauge heavy gauge cross piece. So that's a Doolittle. Look at the trim here too. They do a great job of actually not putting trim on. How nice that looks. And when we look over here, and of course you don't see this when this door is up, but that's how a carry-on looks. And if you look also, it looks like about the same gauge for the hinges. Some other things that are common on both is we make sure we order these with no roof vents. So both the trailers will have just side flow vents. Side flow, just a hole cut through here. So again, looking at your trailer, there's a few things to look at. So one is, if you can, go in your trailer, close the doors. So there's just some tricks here. This is what we do before we sell a trailer. Go inside the trailer, close the door, see if you can see any light. Oh boy. I've got a hole in this one. You can see that? Alright, well, I'm glad I did that before. So we got a hole there, and now we've got good size gap there. Now this isn't that big of a deal, this style, because it's not just held on with this latch. This bar lock closes it up pretty good. So some other things here on our first gen, our Doolittle. I don't know why we got a 2 5/16 ball on this one. The single axles should have gotten a 2-inch ball. So if we look at it, that's what it should have looked like. Also, as I told you there, the Doolittle missed the cross piece. We'll look underneath. They both use Dexter axles. Doolittle uses 4 springs, 4 leaves on the spring, sorry. Carry-on uses 3. Leaves are here. And then as far as underneath, cross piece here. So just a typical, now this is a 7 wide. You see the cross piece. How the tongue meets. How this all gets welded. These guys are just painted. And then I'm going to roll over here. And just a slight different variation on the angle iron. It's not just an angle iron, it's got another lip on it. This looks like it's coated, not just painted. And then very similar junction here on the tongue. Again, no cross piece. On this one, this is a first gen, and it's okay. It's not a large V on it like the other one. be okay selling it just like this. Almost identical configuration, just a different piece here. So this is a true angle iron. It's welded across. Drop axle on both. 3 leaves on the springs. 4 leaves on this other guy. We have also a slight difference here in this shackle. So that shackle, that trailer has got like a 4-inch shackle, and this has got like a 1-inch shackle. So this affects ride height. So if it was a little lower, it'd bring it down. So that's kind of like Jeep style lifts. And what I mean by the shackle is this. You can kind of see the difference in the room here, but all that's fine. It's just going to be for ground clearance. And by the way, that bow and that axle is how they do alignment on the straight axles. So it's got a little bit of a camber on it with no load, and then it bends in if there is a load. This axle, you can kind of tell, has no brakes set up on it. Some of our 7x12s, we order them with brakes. Actually, most of all of them we do. This one kind of came in as a oddball without brakes, which is okay on the 3500. That's not a requirement. 3500 pound GVW, but you can kind of see here, no brake setup. Plug and wiring, another thing to look at. They've got a nice molded wire, 4-way, kind of nice, tucked away. This is just the old style, and they run their wire split for left side and right side. So another thing, so let's say you were buying this trailer and you were looking at it. Make sure you get this transition flap. Now close this door. Doolittle here looks like is made for left-handers. Handles on the left. We're going to close this door and do the same thing. So this door, we'll get inside of this trailer. Close the door, and the only light I see is the vent. Oh, I do see a hole down there, and that would just be the molding on this Doolittle. So I'm going to take a point away for both of these guys, and then the door, same concept here. It's not a tight, super tight fit without that bar lock. And again, this is one of the reasons too. You don't want just an RV lock. You want to get that bar lock. Closing it in with that bar lock makes it watertight. Well, there you have it. There's their comparison. Doolittle versus Carry-On. Pretty comparable. Of course, different size trailers and a little bit of rambling there, but just kind of give you an idea. This one here has got that 4-foot door. Kind of cool to put side load an ATV or something. Well, there you have it. Doolittle versus Carry-On. I didn't go over some of the trim stuff here. You can see not super pretty on this one. A little bit cleaner on the other one. Went over just more of the structural components. Metal door holder. Here. And it looks like our Doolittle one is missing one there. We can put one down for it.